This episode of Video Game Book Club is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to support the Boss Rush Network and our family of podcasts, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. Thanks for your continued support. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Boss Rush Video Game Book Club, the Boss Rush Podcast monthly spoilercast and review discussion show about games that you vote on over on Patreon. I'm your host, Corey Dirrig, and alongside me, as always, is the man, the master, PK Power, Pat Klein.
The Sully to your Nathan Drake.
Yeah, I was going to say my Chloe, but you know.
No, I consider myself more older, dirtier, and full of wisdom for your younger generation.
Yeah. You can be my Sully. Laurent can be my Chloe.
There we go.
We also have a guest on this episode, Pat.
That we do, because someone decided they wanted to play other things this week.
Yeah. No. So we have Clint Coombs is joining us today. Clint, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
If you are listening on Patreon, the episode that he appeared on the Boss Rush podcast goes live on Monday. If you are not listening on Patreon, you already know this voice from other things like After Dark and Boss Rush podcast and everything. Spreading the nerd is your thing.
And it is.
So go
slowly spreading. Slowly.
Yeah, spreading it out.
Like butter on toast.
Man, let me tell you.
Get those corners.
Sometimes butter spreading on toast, it's just so satisfying.
It's got that like little crunch sound that it makes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Also,
and then you
one
can
of the
like
biggest pet peeves though. You like hard butter on softish toast.
Yeah. Yeah, but also
done.
like leaving it out. People that leave butter out on like their dining room table or like their kitchen or something, I'm like, what's wrong with you, man? This is like
gelatin.
Yeah, I'm like, nope. You know what else we're leaving out on the table, everybody? Uncharted 2. This was the game everybody voted on Patreon by a large margin. This game is very special. I really like this game a lot. Released on the PlayStation 3 in October of 2009. Developed by Naughty Dog. The follow-up to Uncharted. What's the name of the first game?
Drake's Fortune.
Drake's Fortune. Yeah, that's right. I almost said a Thief's Fortune. I'm like, that's not right.
It's either going to have one of two words, Thief or Drake.
Yeah. Drake's Fortune. Yeah. Which we did, a couple months ago at this point. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's also on PS4 through the Nathan Drake collection. It is supposedly coming to PC soon. If you want any rumors to be true, which I'm kind of shocked they didn't put this out with that Legacy of Thieves collection on PC. But
yeah,
I don't know.
So if it's coming out on PC, does that mean we're getting also a PS5 upgrade?
That was nice. Also a rumor going around.
That would be nice.
That there would be a PS5 upgrade. But like what are you going to upgrade? It already runs at 60 frames. It already runs at 4K. What are you going to, what are you going to do to it? You know? Put extra hairs in Sully's mustache? Is that what you're going to do?
Show the sweat and dirt accumulate on the clothes.
There's a lot of sweat and dirt going on in this game.
A lot of fluids going.
But before we get into the game itself, you can support us on Patreon and get this show 1 month early and get voting rights to the games that we play on this show at the tier that's right for you. If you want to support us, you can head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork, earning you perks such as early ad-free access to this podcast, exclusive access to Spotlight interview threads, voting rights for this show, and more. That's patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. But as always, your listenership is enough for us. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, not Google Play anymore because I got that email today that said Google Podcast is gone. It's just gone. You got to listen through YouTube Music now, apparently. So good luck with that. We're also on Amazon Music, and 3 people listen through that service, so that's neat. So leave us a nice rating or review over there if you would so kindly do that. You can also buy our merch over on TeePublic with over 50 designs that rep your favorite shows and more. As always, you can check out bossrush.net for all of our content. Shout out to all the good reviews and banters going out recently. A lot of Zelda stuff I saw today. So while I was doing some social media stuff. Good times. Good times. You know what else was a good time? Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. I replayed this game. I think I've played it in 3 sittings. It took me less than 7 hours to beat. Of course, I played it on easy and wasn't searching for treasures, and I've already played this game 3 times, so I kind of knew what I was doing. But I really love this game. This is a top 25 game for me of all time, I think. Probably, if I was to make a list, this would be the one that would make it from the series. Clint, I'm going your way. How do you feel about this? Remember, we are keeping the first 15 minutes or so spoiler free, everybody. So we will make that clear when we hit spoilers. But Clint, how do you feel about Uncharted 2?
Uncharted 2 for me was such a leap from the first one. It was one of the first games. Every now and then a game in a generation comes along, and I think this one was one of those games where like it truly wowed me of like what's going to become for action games. Like the cutscene integration with gameplay was fantastic. The action scenes, back in 2009 felt very movie like, and then the graphics back then, of course, that's what we saw, were fantastic. Yeah, and just all the set pieces, before not getting into them too much, just all the set pieces in it, several huge pieces in one game. It was great. And then you had multiplayer tacked onto it, and the multiplayer was pretty decent, I thought. Kind of a nice change from Call of Duty pace type of thing.
Yeah.
But definitely top 25 too.
Yeah.
And probably my favorite in this series, probably.
Yeah. Although I do want to say Lost Legacy is close. I really like Lost Legacy a lot.
Yep.
But we'll get to that eventually, probably someday. Maybe. Pat.
Yes.
How do you feel about Uncharted 2, Among Thieves?
Well,
you need to talk about more than just Chloe now.
That's okay. Chloe's not really my type, so.
Oh man, she's perfect for me.
I'm an Elena guy.
She checks all the boxes for me.
I like last year's model.
Team Chloe.
Last year's model. Yeah, that joke.
Yeah. You know what? I will definitely say it's definitely a good game. It's strange that it kind of it's a little bit of a different shift from the first one. I feel like the first game relied more on its exploration and like hunting down the treasure, and this one kind of sets itself up more as like an action piece, where it's more of like going out and like chasing down bad guys and trying to save the world, or the bad guy from finding the thing that the magical MacGuffin in this one.
Yep.
But overall, well, more than just that, but overall, I would say that it is a great game. I do enjoy the set pieces a lot. There's something about kind of the whole Himalayan landscape that I wish was kind of used more often. In fact, I think it's probably Far Cry 4 was one of my more favorite Far Cry games because it used the Himalayan Nepal style region. But this game also has probably some of the best characters. Definitely the best bad guy in the entire series. And my only complaint, though, is that as you get further in the game, everyone becomes a freaking meat shield. You run into guys who are covered in body armor. You run into guys who are covered in like metal plates, and then you run into guys who are literally like immune to bullets.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, well,
it got kind of cheap at the end
sure.
when fighting.
Yeah,
Understandable, yeah.
yeah.
Um,
But that's why I play it on easy.
yeah, I thought about it, but I was in the final area. I'm like, I can't switch this down to easy right now. It's like I literally played through the whole game on normal. I, I can't do that. I just got to bear through it and get lucky and figure out how to tackle down the immune to bullets guys.
Mm.
The best I could.
Yeah. I yeah, the combat still for me like it's good. It's definitely better than the first game. Um
Much, yeah.
even though like I know Blue Point did a decent I assume we all played the PS4 version. I assume nobody plugged in their PS3 and, wanted to play that way. But even though Blue Point did a great job of like kind of fixing a lot of the combat stuff in the first game and trying to make them all feel like they all are the same game, like 2 definitely feels better in a lot of ways than 1. Even like the basic stuff like the cover system feels better. The grenade targeting feels better. I mean, even just basic shooting kind of feels better. But
Yeah, for
the
sure.
melee combat though still leaves a lot to be desired. It's just a bunch of punching and doesn't really do anything. And if you get shot while you're punching, like it just kills your animation, and it's still like I don't know, melee's not worth it. Still,
Yeah,
in
it's
this game.
amazing the accuracy those people have. Like all of their friends are shooting at them, and the bad guy doesn't get hit by a bullet, but you seem to get hit by them quite easily.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, I still really like this game a lot. I've kind of it was fun playing through it again because I haven't played it since the Nathan Drake collection came out. Um, which was I don't even remember when it came out. What 20? I wrote it down. I put it up here because I'm smart. I did not put the release date of the Nathan Drake collection. Anyways, I haven't played it since then, and I really kind of forgot about a lot of it. I remember obviously the train scene like at the beginning, and then the train scene in the middle, uh, and kind of that opening area. I remember, but like I kind of forgot a lot of it. At the end, I thought I was, I was like, did I play through the wrong game? Is it like because like I forgot that that's how it ended. uh, I thought I was playing Uncharted 3 for a second, but I really enjoyed the story. I thought the writing was much better. Uh, I like the relationship, like the three-way relationship between Elena and Chloe and Drake once, that sort of interaction starts happening. I kind of, really enjoyed it. I missed Sully a lot in like the second half. I know that's not really like I mean, it's kind of spoiler, but it's not really like a major spoiler, I guess. But like I miss Sully, especially with the way that Uncharted 3 opens up. Like I just man, Sully is felt really missed, but I know they tried to make up with it for the other characters and stuff and trying to get you used to the other characters, but um, overall, great game. Loved it. Loved it.
I did like how it like you met all the characters pretty early on, so you could connect with them really well
Mm-hmm.
right from the start. It wasn't like a gradual like, oh, you're gonna meet this character, 3/4 of the way in, and you like that person's style or something, then you end the game that you wish you had more time with, type of thing. So it was cool seeing them
Yeah.
much earlier.
Yeah. Uh, I like you said, Clint. I think this is definitely my favorite in the series. I don't know. I would have to play 3 and 4. I know 4 is not my favorite.
Hmm.
I think 4 is way too long and just way too. I don't
Yeah,
know.
this something with 4. Yeah, I mean, I loved the ending, and I was sad at the ending because it was just
Hmm.
over. But yeah, something with 4, just I don't know.
Yeah. Plus, like the drama. I mean, if you follow video game industry at all, like the drama inside Naughty Dog during that development,
Yep.
like retooling the game and adding Last of Us mechanics in there because that's what that team was working on. And it's like, I don't know. 4 is fine. 4 is not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not my favorite in the series. So
yeah, it's just when you compare them all together type of thing.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some spoilers, everybody. Spoilers, this is your time to get out. If you haven't played Uncharted 2 yet, for some reason.
Where have you been?
Maybe you're an Xbox person. I don't know. So
maybe you're young.
Maybe. if you're young, I'm sorry. We're old. But yeah, we're gonna enter spoiler territory here. Let's talk about this opening kind of series of sequences, I guess, because like it's obviously starts with that iconic train sequence hanging off the side of the mountain, but then it starts a series of flashbacks that ends up just being the first part of the game, and then you end up in the train, right? It kind of just tells you how you got to that opening, but that opening with the train, and you're sitting there and like Drake is kind of like woozy and he kind of wakes up and he looks at his hand and his blood. He's like, oh, that's a lot of blood. It's a lot of my blood. Like it's very, very Indiana Jones. And then you start seeing boxes and barrels flying down, and he catches himself with one hand on the bar, and then the camera zooms out and you just see him dangling, and there's this huge mountain range, and it's like, man, this is very unrealistic, but very, adventure-y.
Very movie like.
Yeah. Definitely a lot better than the opening of Uncharted 1.
Yeah.
Because that started on the boat, right? The beginning, it started on the boat, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I replayed the second one, I only watched like footage from the first one, and just the first one was kind of rough when you go back to it, story wise at the beginning and just graphic wise. And then the leap to the second one, opening up with the Himalayas in the background and stuff, it was just crazy.
Yeah, this was definitely it felt like a visual, like they were trying to show off, hey, this is bigger than the first one, right? Like that's kind of how it opened up,
right? Definitely. Yeah, like you knew you were in for something special right from the start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How'd you feel about that opening, Pat?
No, it definitely is a good opening. It kind of puts you right there in the middle of the action, just right from the start, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. It is definitely an interesting place that they put you. Like, if you do kind of that whole like put yourself in like a scene and then retell the story in a flashback, it's almost always at the very end. But this one's just kind of right there in the middle, where this scene takes place.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely starts off for an interesting experience.
Yeah. And then that first flashback sequence where Drake is kind of at the bar by himself. No Elena. And I remembered Chloe was like part of the flashback stuff, but I forgot that him and Elena were not like a thing at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, for some reason, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, just from Uncharted 3 and 4, and like, they're always the thing, and I'm just like, oh, I forgot that they weren't a thing here.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, Chloe comes into the picture with Flynn, and Flynn seems like a total D-bag when he walks in anyway, but I don't know what it is about that guy. I don't know if it's his hair or his accent or both, or I don't know. But then like Chloe kind of comes in and acts like she doesn't know Drake, but then we find out that they actually have a history together, and then things get very flirtatious and almost sexual at that beginning part there.
What a great cutscene.
Yeah. It's
introduce you to the dynamic of these three new friends.
Yeah, friends, yes, quote unquote friends.
I mean, you gotta think of it. It's almost Indiana Jones-ish in that kind of way, where it's like just a whole new cast of characters are introduced, and like you don't even know about like it's a question whether or not the characters from the previous one are even tied to the story. So, and I
Yeah,
think that's kind of what they were trying to do here was make it its own individual story.
yeah, which is
Mm.
good because like you can always play these out of order and enjoy yourself without having to know. I guess 4 would kind of be the only one that you would have to play after the first 3, right? But like
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's the same for Indiana Jones too. I guess, but yeah, I you could definitely jump into 2 without playing 1 and not miss a beat, really. Because even when Elena is introduced, you kind of learn pretty quickly that they were a thing, and then they weren't, right?
Especially when Elena introduced herself as last year's model.
Yeah, man, that joke is so good. And
Hmm.
and Chloe is just kind of like finds it kind of awkward, I guess, a little bit. Like she doesn't want any part of that beef.
Yeah.
uh, but I
She
also like how they kind of become friends later and kind of like team up on Drake a little bit, which is cool, which is fun. But we'll get there. We'll get to that. But basically, when we meet Flynn and Chloe and Drake are sitting at the table, they are looking for the treasure that Marco Polo was searching for. They're searching for an oil lamp, uh, and they're reading this letter from Marco Polo that you know kind of explains what's going on and what they're looking for, and they kind of do this whole history lesson thing, and then we go back to the train and we climb some more and we fight some more and
he gets
yeah,
beat up a hell of a lot more.
yeah, he gets really beat up.
Drake's
Seriously,
down.
it's like how is this guy even alive right now? He's
Yeah,
bleeding profusely from his side. He's getting beat and like
Ad-
thrown apart by explosions and
adrenaline,
like
man.
Keep
I
it
mean, I
going.
sure hope his tetanus shot was or no, he had it before he went on this journey. Otherwise, I'd fear for his future.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
definitely took some hits. That's for sure.
yeah, it's all good, right? That's how it.
Bill's character.
Yeah, yeah. So but like he passes out when he climbs up this mountain, like at the top of it, right? And then the flashback starts in the hotel room with Drake kind of, Chloe kind of going down the hallway and Drake pulling Chloe into the hotel room, and they kind of get super flirtatious with each other, but kind of like adversarially flirtatious, and um, it's super fun. It's super. I like how lighthearted it is, even though like I don't know that. It feels like this kind of stuff would not exist in video games today, which was kind of like I don't know. It was weird, but like in a fun throwback way. Like, oh man, I kind of miss when media was like this. The hot woman flirts with the handsome guy, and they're about to like go on this adventure, but they're gonna go have sex first, and then they're gonna get all their sexual tension out, and I don't know. It was very like
It was like a classic 80s adventure movie almost
yeah,
type of thing.
yeah, and I'm like, man, this would like never fly today, especially because there's a point late, 3 points later in the game where like Drake's like, oh, nice view, and he like Chloe is like climbing in front of him, and she's it's very like uh men, right? That's what she
Right.
says or something, and it's just like it's so fun.
Only interested in one thing.
Yeah, yeah, man, what a great game.
But I mean, even though it had parts like that, it was just written so well and acted so well by the characters that it didn't come off like cheesy or anything. It just came off very natural for that game.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, it's because it's acted well. The characters are written really well. Um, it's just I don't know. This is kind of where like games start really becoming more cinematic feeling and
Mm.
more immersive as a storytelling vessel. I feel like, and not that games weren't doing this before, right? Like, I mean, you could argue like even this generation was like Gears was doing it, and some other BioWare had been doing it with Mass Effect for a little bit, right? And I
Yeah.
think this came out the same year as Mass Effect 2, or like kind of right after or right before or something around then.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just felt like these characters they're super relatable and super fun and super lighthearted, and I think that's what I enjoy most about them. And
Yeah.
nothing is really taking too seriously. Uh, so
Yeah, Naughty Dog were firing on all pistons on this
yeah,
one, I think.
yeah. Pat,
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel? How are you feeling about this hotel scene?
It's again telling you a bit about Nathan Drake's and Chloe's relationship, and how they plan on double crossing Harry.
Yeah,
It's it's telling, but
yeah,
mhm.
man. Harry Flynn. What a name. That is a goon's name. That is a henchman name if I've ever heard one. Uh, so we get to let's see. They go through the kind of let me back up a minute here. After the hotel scene, we get to there's a third part where you're going through the train again, right? But then there's the next flashback is them on the boat heading to uh, the museum that they're going to try to get this thing, right? And so you make your way to the museum through this part, and I thought this part was very like this is kind of where like the climbing mechanics start coming in again, and like the platforming and the climbing for me here instantly felt better than the first game.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times in the first game I would like point my stick where I wanted to jump, and then I would just jump off the edge and fall to my death. And I didn't find myself doing that a whole lot this time around.
Yeah. Yeah, the first one was kind of very much Assassin's Creed style, early Assassin's Creeds, where you're like on top of something, push left on the joystick, you jump right type of thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely
I still had those issues though. Like it's like, why are you jumping in like a direction that's literally open air? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean
it
that's
still showed its age.
yeah. No,
yeah,
I agree. I think it felt better than the first one.
for
Uh,
sure.
a lot. I mean that's kind of like a sequel should feel better than the first one, though, I guess. But still,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely should, but man, this one just seemed like such a leap.
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, even visually, even mechanically, like everything, the writing, the characters felt
Yep.
more fleshed out. Like even the villains felt better. Like I don't know. I felt like obviously we're gonna meet Lazarevich soon, and like even he felt a little less one dimensional, even though he kind of was one dimensional, but he felt less one dimensional than what's his name from the first one, right? So
That we can't even remember because
yeah,
he was very
because
wonderful.
the rich guy.
Hmm.
So yeah, I really like this, and the lighting was really good on the water, like the boat on the water, and it was very the set piece was very nice. It was a very nice thing to open up with after this huge dynamic set piece of the train, and then you go into this night scene with on a boat, and like you see the moonlight on the water, and then you go into the caverns for the first time, and like the fire kind of is lighting the room differently than the first game. Like the lighting was better
Mm,
indoors too. So anyways, when you make your way inside with Flynn, right, you find the thing that you're looking for. They figure out where they're supposed to go. They figure out what they're looking for, and which I think are the boats, right? They find out where the boats are that they're looking for, right? And
yeah, the lost
Hmm.
fleet there, whatever.
yeah, and then Flynn ends up double crossing Drake.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, uh, he
Surprised me.
he
Like,
takes the rope.
Yeah.
He takes the rope. So and then he waits for the guards to come through, and then you're kind of like trying to escape the museum, right? And um, yeah, I mean, it was that scene is it's very weird that a museum is set up like that. I mean, I understand it's a video game, but like, you know,
Has to
it's
be.
like this giant maze with like it just happens to have some exhibits as cover. I don't know, just something I noticed.
Can't escape everything game wise.
Right, but then, yeah, but you end up in jail. Nate ends up in jail for 3 months, and Sully ends up coming to break him out, or not break him out, but you know, bail him out, I guess, with the help.
Using money from the first game.
Yep, almost all of it, and
I did like
some
that
of Nate's.
scene.
All of
when it
yours, Nate,
opens
and
up.
some of mine.
Yeah, all of yours and some of mine.
When it opens up and it says like 3 months later, and it's just Drake there like talking to himself with his hands back and forth,
Yeah, so great.
showing him slowly going insane.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess you would too, right?
Oh, definitely.
Also, Sully comments about how bad he smells, and it's pretty funny. And then Chloe comes in, and
But he emphasized that he had his own pot.
he did.
That was a luxury that it was his, and he didn't have to share it with 3 other people.
Yeah, he definitely made it clear that he didn't have to share with anybody else. So, but then Chloe comes in, and he tells Sully that Chloe shouldn't be trusted, but Sully said she has a reason, and then they end up being happy together and going to make a plan, and then they go make a plan. And somehow they're in this nice library that's well lit with a fireplace and a nice, you know, probably really, really expensive desk. And they're looking at all these maps and these papers. And somehow Chloe changed her shirt somewhere in between there because it was orange when she walked into the jail cell, and now it's red again. So I don't know. She only owns 2 shirts and a black leather jacket, I guess.
I feel like she had the most clothes changes, though, out of every single person in that game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think people knew that she was going to be the one that most people were paying attention to visually. So,
I don't know what you're talking about.
you know, they were like, we should probably change this up a little bit. You know, we gotta show off the assets that we worked so hard on, even though the shirt was literally just a color swap. But that's whatever. We're not gonna get into that, I guess. We could. I could talk about Chloe for an hour and a half if you guys really want to. Maybe we'll save that for After Dark. Just kidding.
Oh, that would be a good After Dark session.
It was a topic on this week's After Dark, but we
That's
went
fantastic.
we went so long on the other topics that we ended up saving it. So
that's fantastic.
I don't know. We'll see. But where did we go from here? We are going to Borneo, the jungle, where Sully and Drake have to set charges that are already there, which, you know, I think Chloe set the charges, or she placed the charges, and then you had to set them. But I don't know why she wouldn't just set them for you and leave you the remote. I don't know. It seemed kind of like, oh, it's time to play the game now. Might as well press square to set these charges while you walk through the jungle. Oh man, this scene kind of reminded me of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, though. Like that scene after the flood in Shadow of the Tomb Raider when like you end up in the jungle by yourself. But man, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is really good. I really liked that game a lot.
Yep. I loved the last trilogy of that one.
Yeah. Where's that 4th game? We need that. They're working on one. They're working on a Tomb Raider game, but I don't know if it's a sequel.
Yeah, I don't know.
They should be announcing it this year.
Yep.
They've been heavily hinting that it's going to be announced here very soon.
I hope so.
Yep.
When was Shadow of the Tomb Raider? It was before the new consoles came out, right? Because it came out on Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah.
And then it got upgrades later.
Right.
Well, Xbox
it was towards the end of the generation, I think.
Yeah. Man, Shadow was really good. I actually think Shadow might be my favorite one out of the 3. I really love Rise too, but man, Shadow was like a good mix of the first one and Rise.
Yep.
And it was a good fusion of the 2.
So good.
Yeah. Except for Laura was insufferable in that one.
No, she wasn't.
She was a bitch, okay?
Whoa.
She can be a bitch to me. That's fine.
She can be
So
whatever
can
she wants
Chloe.
to be. At the same time.
She literally watched like thousands of people die, and she didn't give a damn about it. So
She looked good doing it though.
Anyways, before we all get in trouble, you make your way to the campsite. They kind of introduce some stealth section. Actually, I think they introduced the stealth sections in the previous gameplay part, but like they really want you to play stealthily in this game. So in most parts, like it's really I'm not sure how many times I can hide behind a box and press triangle. I mean, it's fun sometimes, but then like you go to do it, and then one guy that clearly can't see you turns around and like, "Hey, he's alive!" And then you gotta shoot him, and then it's kind of pointless. But you set the charges. You end up blowing up one of the camps to make a distraction. You end up finding the Marco Polo kind of mission. Like Lazarevich has all the missions since the 1600s, and you end up finding Marco Polo's kind of mission thing, and you end up figuring out that you have to climb the mountain because that's where his people are instead of down where you are. So I don't know. This is kind of where the story kind of starts unfolding, and you end up climbing the mountain with Chloe and Sully, and you find a cavern with a bunch of bodies in it. And then you find some barrels and some boxes and some blue fire that ends up showing you there's a lot of blood in here, but it's not visible for some reason. It's invisible blood that you can only see by blue fire.
bro, that blood is like 1,000 or hundreds of years old.
Need a powerful UV.
That's essentially what it is. It's UV and luminol.
Just saying, there's a lot of blood there, and so you have to solve the blood puzzle.
You know, it could have been more than just blood. Do you know what those things pick up? They were trapped in a cave for the rest of their existence.
What are you trying to say here, Pat?
I'm just saying, men have needs.
Jeez.
That need is to literally murder each other with their black teeth.
Yeah. And so like when you get here, you end up figuring out where you need to go next, but then Flynn ends up coming in with some friends, and Chloe seemingly betrays you. Shocker. But then she kind of doesn't, but she kind of does, but then she kind of doesn't. And then you run away with Sully while she causes a distraction, even though she brought them there in the first place. And then you and Sully end up jumping off, and they make some Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kids references that I don't understand because I'm, me in movies. So I don't understand the Butch Cassidy thing. I don't understand. I don't understand the thing because like Destiny has Sundance reference in it too. Cade's ghost name is Sundance, and it's like
it's just a classic.
I don't understand what it means. I could look it up, but I don't want to.
Quick YouTube.
Yeah, I could look it up, but I just don't want to. And then I'll just complain about it the next time it comes up. What does it mean? I don't know. Anyways,
yeah, poor Drake at this point is like getting betrayed back and forth. Poor guy.
I feel though he got an understanding by this betrayal because immediately she betrays, the guards, that she's has to do this to keep her cover.
Yeah.
Like she's not like you get more of a sense that she is on your side, but she's too deep to, kind of jump ship.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of understand that too. It kind of like, I mean, since I already played the game, I already kind of knew that Chloe was like good, but like the first time you play this, like it's very like double, triple crossy thing. But then she tells you to meet her in Nepal, right? When you go to run away. And so like you end up going to Nepal and trying to meet her. But also like you get to run away from a big military grade truck for some reason that drives 10 miles an hour while you're running away from it. It always boggles my mind when games have chase scenes in them where you're running from a vehicle. When was the last time you outran a vehicle that was driving down a very straight road? I'm just trying to figure it out. It's a military grade truck. It's not like it's some busted up, this truck needs work and can only go 10 miles an hour, this is like an armored vehicle that's chasing you, and it's still only going like 5 miles an hour, because not only are you running, but you're turning around running, trying to shoot it with a gun. It's like
Never tripping.
I'm just never tripping. I'm like, what are you doing?
The plot armor is thick.
Yeah.
Not as thick as that truck's armor, though.
Yeah. I don't know. That kind of stuff in games really bothers me. I understand you need to have scenes that break up the action in different ways, but like, come on.
Yeah.
This might be more unrealistic than him dangling, bleeding to death by one arm off of a train.
Oh, definitely. For sure.
So
for sure.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Also, I wrote chase scene here, and I wrote scene wrong. I put scene like I saw the chase instead of
right.
Like, this is a
witness
scene.
Me.
Yeah. I guess I could fix that. Nobody will ever know. I guess I could have never said that, and nobody would have ever known. But there.
Now it never happened. It never happened. The power of editing.
Yeah. So like you're going to meet Chloe, and then you end up fighting up on the rooftops, and Chloe ends up saving you, right? She ends up shooting some guy that's chasing you or whatever. They have a flirtatious exchange, and this is another place where Drake comments on her ass. So this is becoming a thing. And then they kind of figure out what Marco Polo's next clue was, which is one of the temples in the city, which they end up going to a hotel, and there's a very strange interaction, I guess. Not strange, but like, Chloe's like, we need to go to the hotel, and Drake's like, oh, well, we got stuff to do. And then she's like, no, it's the highest point in the city. He's like, oh, I knew that. I was not thinking about sexual intercourse at this point. So that was kind of funny. But then they go to the highest point, and then they see where they need to go, and it's where all the explosions are. And Drake and Chloe don't want to go where all the explosions are, but they have to. And so they try to make their way there, and a giant helicopter is chasing them. So this is the helicopter chase scene, which may or may not be more unrealistic than the truck scene.
It was definitely unrealistic. Rockets coming at you and stuff, the building falling over, or not falling over, but like jumping through and stuff. But it was awesome, though.
Yeah,
classic. You're in the building as it's collapsing. You gotta jump through the giant window just when it's passing another building.
Yeah,
right.
So that you can save yourself.
Or like when he's like climbing across that beam, and the helicopter shows up, and he's like, oh shit, and then like the Gatling gun starts going off, and then the building collapses, and then like they somehow misses him while he's just sitting there on the beam.
Right. And this game had so many set pieces. It was so good.
Yeah, it was good though. I mean, like I think this really kind of showed off what they were trying to do, though, especially like after this, right? The games they put out after this that people love. I mean, I said it already, but this is kind of the game you can kind of circle that says, hey, Naughty Dog is kind of for real, and you should probably pay attention to them a little bit.
Yep. Not just a Bandicoot anymore.
Nope. Although I think there was a Jack reference at the bar. There's some graffiti that looks like Jack and Daxter font on the side of the bar.
I missed that.
I don't know. I could be just mistaken that, but maybe that's what I wanted it to be.
I'm pretty sure they have a couple Easter eggs through it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So after you climb the hotel and you get to the vantage point and you escape the hotel, Guess who we finally run into?
Bum, bum, bum.
Elena and
Mhm.
cameraman Jeff. Oh, cameraman Jeff.
Poor Jeff.
Yep.
Poor Jeff.
You knew when they gave him the name Jeff, you're like, yeah, that's forgettable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Might as well be wearing a
Poor-
red shirt.
Yeah. LaRon will like that reference. Yeah, man. Poor Jeff. Poor Jeff. The sad thing about Jeff is when you get to that part of the game and you're like saving his ass, he doesn't even die from the wound. He just gets randomly shot by Lazarovich.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know. I mean, it's just like, oh man, I did all that just to this is how it ends. This is how it ends. But we meet last year's model,
Mm-hmm.
and Chloe seems a little uncomfortable with this drama between them, and her and Drake have a thing, and then Elena and Drake have a thing, and it's a thing. And Jeff ends up being like, oh, like that's Drake, meh, whatever. So that's, and then Drake ends up trying to like get out of telling her that why he's really there, right? Because he knows Lazarovich is alive, and Elena is there doing her own kind of, I don't know if it's a news story or a documentary or like just trying to find the truth about something, but Lazarovich is supposed to be dead.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, that
Sorry,
was the
Pat.
truth. She was doing research because everyone believed that Lazar,
It's a
Lazarovich?
mouthful.
it
Lazar.
is a Lazarovich.
Yeah,
Thank
that guy.
you, Lazarovich. Was dead. He was considered a war criminal of Serbian descent. I had to look that up because he sounds Russian, but he's actually Serbian. Little fun fact there. And he is basically ripping the entire city of in Nepal, the Nepalese city that you're in. He's just absolutely destroying it.
Yeah.
And of course, no one believes that he still exists, even though he's doing that.
Even though he's shredding the city apart with helicopters and military grade vehicles.
He literally has a
Yes.
giant private army of military grade weapons, helicopters, tanks, armored vehicles, miniguns, rocket launchers aplenty, grenade launchers. Really, this guy's not on anyone's radar.
The
Yeah.
CIA and
I
British
mean, I'm surprised
intelligence
he didn't
doesn't
have
exist.
a nuke.
Yeah.
You know, this guy probably has a nuclear, like at least one or two nuclear bombs in his like arsenal.
Yeah, somewhere. They're in there somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got enough rocket launchers to like, I don't know, defend a small country. He shoots enough at you anyway, at least on
Yeah.
the train. Like
No
the
shit. Helicopter.
yeah. Yeah, man. This is Lazarovich is I don't know. He seems pretty powerful to not be on anybody's radar. I'm just gonna be real.
I mean, it's cool because you do finally get to meet, like, you see him from afar in like the Borneo cutscenes, but this is the first time he actually meets Nathan Drake, and you just see how ruthless he is and how scared shitless Harry is to be around him. And just like the fact that the first thing he's like, oh, you carried this man, this injured man all the way here, and then he shoots him in the head.
Right.
And it's like,
Yep.
that he's setting himself to be, this is a villain who not only has the backing of his private army, he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. And those are the kind of villains that I like. The
Mhm.
ones who are a threat just in and of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about Lazarovich a little bit later for sure. But for now, the three, well, I guess four of them enter this temple. Now, this temple, when you first see it, is like, this is an amazing shot of this temple. It looks really good still to this day, even as a PS4 port of a PS3 game. I mean, just the way they like zoom out and kind of frame it, and the lighting, and even the texture work on some of the bricks and the wood, and it's just, it's a good looking building.
Yeah.
And so you go in and you see the three-way love triangle start kind of emerging where, Drake is trying to kind of protect Elena a little bit, but also like wants to go with Chloe, and Chloe is like calling him little pet names, and Elena is kind of like angry flirting a little bit. It's just like this whole thing. But you end up going inside with Chloe, right? And then you solve all these puzzles, and you got to climb like these weird gear things and drop the sword in the thing. And then you see the magic rocks that show you where the entrance to Shambhala is.
Shambhala. That one I can say.
There it is.
And he's
Shambhala.
He whips out his map and his marker, and he's like, Chloe, let me use your back. And, just like, oh, okay. So yeah, the magic rocks, man. This is where it's like, okay, this is I don't get this part, but okay, whatever. But then you end up.
They were literally zombies in the first game, and you're getting thrown off by magic rocks.
Yeah, zombies are real.
The zombies in the first one threw me out for a loop. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah, I actually think these games would have been better without the supernatural stuff, but that's just my opinion. Well, I mean, like, especially like the zombie stuff. Whatever. But yeah, then you kind of like figure out that the dagger is the key to all of this, right? That dagger that you end up getting, and then you have to fight your way out of the temple, and there's some Boomer Shield Gears of War mechanics in here with the like the riot shields, but definitely felt a lot like Gears of War with the snub pistol. Walking through the trenches of the the locust pits and stuff. It was like, man, I could really go for some Gears of War right now.
Maybe soon.
Yeah. But you end up getting to Elena and Jeff, and you see that Jeff has been hit. Jeff is bleeding. Jeff does not look great. He is not in a great position. Poor Jeff.
He doesn't care about him, that's for sure.
Yeah. Leave him. Leave him. Yeah, she's just like begging Drake to leave him on the ground.
I mean, in the whole war sense, she had the right idea, but
right.
Well, yeah. I mean,
that's why she survives, is because she's willing to make the tough choices.
Yeah. But Drake, being the good guy Drake is, and he still loves Elena clearly, and Jeff is Elena's camera guy. You end up kind of dragging him through and going down some hallways and getting him to safety, right? And once you get to safety, Flynn shows up, and Chloe ends up pulling a gun on Drake to try to get him to leave Jeff. And then Flynn walks in, and there's like this three-way standoff going on here. And then Nate finally comes face to face with Lazarovich, which he's a pretty his face is pretty messed up.
It's the whole side of his body.
Yeah,
his arm's got that burn scar too.
Yeah,
he's got that Bond villain look for sure.
Yeah, he's got he's pretty he's pretty messed up. But then he ends up going over to Jeff and just pulling the trigger on his face, and that was I don't know. I remember being shocked by that the first time I played this, like, and then he kind of like just straight up murders him, and then takes the map because he knows Drake has the map. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network. Yeah, think this is where Chloe ends up going with them, right? Does Chloe end up going with them, and Drake and Elena end up getting out because Elena causes, like, she ends up pushing one of the guys and they end up running, right?
Lazarevich was going to have them killed.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's, you know, Elena comes up with the snap decision to quickly push one of the guy's guns, and that gives Drake the chance to get the other soldier, and then they just jump off the side of the broken building and start running for their lives again.
Yeah.
You do that a lot in this game.
Yeah. There's a lot of running away from things in this game. And then there's that scene where, like, Drake tells Elena to jump and he grabs her while they're shooting at you, and then, like, man, when Elena jumped, this was like one of the BS times where I actually, like, died. Because, like, Elena jumped and I caught her, but, like, as the camera pans out back to the gameplay, like, I was getting shot and my screen was already kind of like almost gray because I was getting hit while I was running away. And as I was pulling Elena up and the camera was panning out, I got shot and I ended up dying as the camera was pulling back. I was like, okay,
sucks.
come on, game.
Yeah.
Come on.
No bueno, especially if you're on, like, a hard mode and you're just thinking you're going to get out of an area and then nope.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. But then Drake decides he wants to go save Chloe. So they're looking for the water tower, and then they want to follow. This is the long train sequence. Like, this thing covers like 3 chapters. This train sequence. You're chasing the train. You're jumping onto the train. Right. You're climbing. You're making your way through the train, and then you're fighting helicopters with rocket launchers on the train. It's just this whole thing, man. Like, the train sequence was really long.
And it has its own sub-boss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, I get it. We're on a train. This section should have been about like 3 to 5 minutes, not 3 chapters.
It was mad. You could tell, like, when they were in the planning board that, like, this is the one. This is where we're going to spend all the money.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty big set piece, to be fair, but, like, it was also, you know, even going into the tunnel and then, you know, kind of coming out of it, and then the helicopters were...
They needed that tunnel so that they could explain the change from the jungle to the snowy mountain.
Yeah. This tunnel, right? It's like Zootopia or something, where you go through the tunnel and you're just in the snow,
like Chronicles of Narnia type of thing.
Yeah. Where's the goat guy? I mean, you do end up seeing some goat people later, which are like, jeez.
They're called Sherpas.
No,
mountaineers.
I think Lazarevich called them scarecrows, so that's what I ended up calling them throughout my notes.
Yeah, because they are, like, actually, like, horned people or something like that, isn't it?
Well, yeah, they're just roided up, the Guardians.
Yeah, they're like the protectors of Shambhala or whatever, and they have like the weird goat head masks with the sharp teeth and the, I don't know,
the Wendigos.
The first half of this section that they're in, I called it a monster fight, because I was like, oh, I like kind of forgot that these existed, and I'm like, is this the supernatural element in this game, that like there's these mutated goat zombie things? But then I was like, oh yeah, these are just the Guardian people.
Yeah, I was very glad that you found out there were people, because, like, the first one, I wasn't too impressed with the whole zombie thing. I was like, do we really need, like, is it spiritual enemies or whatever? And I was like, I was happy to find out.
Yeah.
They were still roided up and immortal people for the most part.
Yeah. But then
with black teeth.
Yeah, the black teeth. But this is kind of where the beginning train sequence starts, right? Because you're on the train and Chloe ends up finding you and tells you to get off the train, right? Because she doesn't want you to get hurt, or, you know, she's trying to save you, but she also points a gun at you. And then Flynn ended up walking up behind her and shoots Drake, which is how we find out why he's like, oh, that's a lot of blood. It's my blood.
Full circle.
Yeah, full circle. Now we're back at the beginning. But Chloe ends up pushing Flynn to save Drake, even though he got shot already. So after the scene where you kind of crawl up the train, Nate is crawling through the snow. This kind of reminds me of the desert scene in the third game a little bit, where he's just kind of like wandering through the snow, and a Tibetan traveler finds him. And we later find out that that's what's his name? Tenzin, I think is his name.
Tenzin or something.
Yeah. And he ends up passing out and waking up in a Tibetan house where he drinks some nasty tea and doesn't understand anybody. And Elena ends up being there somehow, knew that he was there or something. I don't know. Elena somehow is just magically in this Tibetan village. You know. Did they ever explain why she's there? I mean, did she just find her way there? Like, I don't understand why she's there.
She probably found her way there. I mean, she was driving Nate to get to the train, so she probably just followed the train explosion and then
Where's the
followed
closest
tracks.
village?
Yeah, but it's just like, why did she not, like, did she try to go look for Drake? Like,
Most likely.
did she just assume that he was dead and she just ended up in the Tibetan village? Like, why?
No, she knew he was alive. That's, she most likely went after to look for Drake, because that's the kind of woman she is. Chloe would have left him there.
Yeah.
No, I guess she's all right. I guess
she did leave him there. She pushed him out of the train. She's dominant. It's fine. Where are we at now?
Sherpa Village
with
and
the German having tea. What's his name? Carl Schaefer.
Carl
yeah,
Schaefer.
The
Carl
Nazi
with a
guy.
K.
Yeah, Carl with a Shay and umlaut over the one of the letters. I forget which letter it is. I guess it's the A, right?
The A, yeah.
Yeah. Because again, Nathan was in his I think we should probably just back out kind of moment. And Carl's like, you should probably find out what you're dealing with before you decide to back out of this.
Yeah. Yeah. So they go and climb, the mountain temple thing, and like the sign says that there's monsters everywhere supposedly, and Tenzin pulls out his knife and Drake doesn't understand what he's saying, but they end up going and doing all these cool jumping puzzles, and Tenzin is very athletic in his snow pants, and it's just very
he is a Sherpa. He can climb mountains.
I'm not talking about climbing the mountains. I'm talking about like, these pillars are 30 feet apart, and he just jumps over them like
practice,
like a crack in the cement.
What else are you gonna do in the mountains besides jump pillar to pillar?
Drink nasty tea. I don't know.
I mean, just this year in actual world news, a man has climbed Mount Everest 30 times, twice in this climbing season.
Why? How are you that bored?
Well, he's a guide.
No,
he's one of the local Sherpas.
That's crazy.
So
you know what?
These
what
people...
I'm Sherpaing my butt over to the couch to play video games. That's what I'm doing.
But yeah, these guys are
daunting sometimes.
These guys know how to navigate.
Yeah,
and jump over 30-foot crevices.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
Yeah,
become rich and then climb Mount Everest.
Yeah.
I don't want to climb anything. I don't want to climb Mount Everest. I don't want to be one of those people. I'm not. Nope. People die up there, man. And they just leave the bodies there.
Yep,
it's
still
too dangerous to bring them down. Speaking of dead people in the mountains, once you kind of get through these puzzles, you find you find Schaefer's men, but you find out they've all been shot and killed by Schaefer. Killed his men, because Nazi men.
They were Nazi men, and he knew exactly what would happen if the Nazis ever got a hold of the stone.
Which means Schaefer was a Nazi.
Yes, he was.
Is he a good Nazi? Is there such a thing as a good Nazi? Probably three white guys on a podcast probably shouldn't say good Nazi in the same sentence, but
probably not. Probably not.
At least he
Uh,
had the decent sense to know what was wrong, and he went against his belief.
yeah,
So
I
and
mean
killed his
that's
own friends to
I mean,
prevent them from getting the Chichimani stone
yeah,
and having
uh,
mass power to completely overthrow kingdoms.
yeah. That was good on him. You know,
Hmm.
what a guy.
The world could have been very different.
It's true. That's true. And then you ride that creepy looking elevator up up, keep going up. Somehow this elevator takes you up to the top of the temple. Uh, although I think one of those crazy mountain people creatures
Yeah.
You had two of them in
tips the
this
thing
Yep.
room.
over. Yeah.
Yep.
Try to take you out, but you end up shooting them off and they go away. And when you get to the top, you see the village is burning. And you're like, oh no,
I
what
did
about the
this.
villagers? What
Hmm.
about Elena and the child that I still don't remember the kid's name, even though I looked it up twice?
Tenzin's daughter.
Yeah. Uh, and so you find out that Lazarevich's men kind of invaded the village, and you fight your way through the village, and you figure out that they took Schaefer. And so you and Elena end up chasing the convoy, and this is where you get to the
Before you
cool.
get to this cool part, how the hell did they get a tank?
Right.
Like, one, you blew
Airdropped
up
it.
the train, so and then you're on mountainous terrain. Last I remember, tanks don't do very well unless it's a flat surface.
Obviously, you've never seen this type of tank before, Pat. This is a magic tank. It flies.
Had to have been
Hmm.
dropped off by helicopter or something. Or it flew. Probably flew.
Yeah, I mean, it probably could have rode the train tracks up into the city. Maybe I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't have a good answer for you.
I did
Uh,
think this area was really done well with graphics as
Hmm.
well. Like
mhm,
the flags blowing and stuff and just the snow and stuff.
yeah,
I remember being back on the PS3 anyways. I remember being kind of blown away by the graphics there for sure.
yeah, yeah, and like even the snow, like when you were walking through, this was one of the first games where I noticed, like, whoa, you're leaving footprints in the snow,
Right.
right? And like obviously the PS3 didn't have enough memory to remember that, but like I mean, like when you turned around, you could only see like your last 10 steps or whatever, but
Yep.
it was still like really cool to be like, oh man,
Yep.
footsteps in the snow. This is cool. Instead of just being like, oh, this is a texture that your feet clip through because it's
Mm.
snow. Uh, yeah, that was cool. Man, there's so many little touches in these games that are just even things that you don't see in games today. Like you said, the flags waving, like
Yeah.
even the way they're waving, it's not just like that they're waving. It's just like the kind of realistic way that they're like
Yeah, like
waving. And
like the line of them, there's several of them independently waving instead of all just one
Mhm.
direction, which in some new games nowadays it's still not like that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes flags don't even wave at all. They're
Right.
just kind of like this
It's just
stilted
there.
texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's a lot of great touches in this game that I don't. Even in the first one, and even in the later ones too. Like I don't know. I was thinking a lot about Lost Legacy and all the little touches in that game too that are still not in games today. But yeah, so I guess we'll get to the cool part now, which you end up chasing the convoy, and this is another truck jumping part where you get to jump from truck to truck. Also, super realistic, able to do super athletic. Um, Jumping from truck to truck, and then one of the trucks doesn't make it to the camp, and you sneak into the camp, and this is another one of those stealth sequences where they want you to be stealthy, but the first guy I stealth killed, somebody saw me stealth kill him, and that clearly didn't see me, but still found me, and I ended up just shooting everybody anyway.
Yeah. The stealth parts did seem kind of tacked on,
Yeah,
so to speak, or like the least development time spent on type of thing.
yeah. It kind of seemed more like an experiment. Let's see if people latch
Right.
onto this at all, to see if we should put this in another game or
Right.
something. Which I guess The Last of Us, they kind of did, right? That
Mm.
game's kind of all about that, but um, not all about that, but you know what I mean. And then you make your way through the camp and you find Schaefer in the tower. at the top of the temple, and he's super beaten up and dying, and yeah, he ends up giving Drake some advice, and he gives him something, right? He gets something from him. What does he get from him?
He
The some
gets
type of
that his
stone.
little,
Oh no.
just
I'm
his
thinking of
like
something else.
medallion that he had like
Yeah.
from it that was like on his clothes.
Oh,
Yeah. And then he tells him he's got to like destroy the stone there or whatever. That's something
Yeah.
stone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remembered he got something, but I couldn't remember if it was important or not. It's not in my notes, so it must not have been important. So I think this is where Elena and Drake kind of split up, right?
Yep.
And you're kind of making your way to where you end up where Lazarevich's men are pulling the statues down to try to find Shambhala, right? And
Yeah, the monastery.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
The
which
big ass monastery.
Yeah, which is like another kind of cool scene, right? Where they're pulling the statues down, and it's very, I don't know, it's very cool. The animations are cool here.
Well, this is where you fight a hell of a lot of people. Like, just starting to come into the monastery, it's like rows and like just another like squad of people just coming in from one side and then from the other side, and then you're climbing towers, but there's still a ton of people in the towers, and then there's snipers all over the place, and you blow up a tower so that you can cross into more of the bigger part of the monastery.
Yeah,
It's just gets nuts.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they start pulling statues.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then you like, I swear one of those horn things were chasing me through this.
Well, the horn people were kind of attacking.
At the same time, typically.
Yeah, at the same time. Like they weren't chasing you, but you saw them in the background and in the scenes like jumping.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I wasn't really paying attention to it, but I heard them.
It was enough to scare you.
Yeah, I was scared. I hate those things. They're they have like creepy teeth and faces, and they have the devil horns that are like, you're going to hell and you're gonna burn, and Satan's gonna spit on his pitchfork and I don't know.
Stick it up your pooper.
All right, they're a little bit scarier now. Now that you describe them that way.
Yeah, I just wrote down monster fight. I don't remember why I wrote that down, but I did.
But yeah.
Anyways, Lazarevich kind of points out that they're not monsters. He calls them scarecrows. They're guardians of the temple.
Scarecrows as a means to defer crows from the crop. So they were just there. That's why he called them scarecrows. They weren't scarecrows.
Yeah. No, they're not literal scarecrows, but I ended up calling them scarecrows through the rest of the notes because I was like, are they like? Because like I know it was like a metaphor, but also like
it works.
Really calling themselves scarecrows? Like I don't know.
No,
I don't know. But also I didn't care enough to like look it up. Oh man. Anyways, Lazarevich makes Nate open the gates to Shambhala. And this view is another one of those views where they clearly wanted to show off, like, okay, we know what we're doing now. Look how visually impressive this is. And it is very visually impressive. Like, man, I mean, I know I was playing the PS4 version on a PS5 on a huge TV that I spent a lot of money on, but like, man, that scene is
it's just the fact that a game, like you said, from like 2009, even with like a facelift type of thing, that it can still look that good. I mean, it's a testament of how deep they went into when they were designing that game.
Yeah. And I think like obviously like Sony is kind of known for this now, but like I think like this era Sony like in the PS3 era, especially the beginning, was like, you know, people were kind of making fun of it because of the $600 price tag, and the games weren't great at launch, and the controller without the rumble at the beginning. The what was it? The 6-axis was like
Yeah.
paper thin and felt like garbage. And,
Yeah.
An
Was
afterthought
garbage.
to the Wiimote
yeah,
because they wanted to be a part of that trend.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like you said, I think I can't think of any other ones, but I think Uncharted really did push Sony into that single player
Mhm.
story heavy driven games that they're known for now. I can't think of anything.
I mean, I think I mean, some people try to say Resistance and Infamous were
Yeah,
that, but I'm like, yeah, I think Uncharted is really kind of where you
yeah,
circle it and be like, this is where it started. I
I
mean,
think so too. Yeah.
you know, those games had good, decent stories and stuff. Like I still kind of like the idea of Resistance. I think the idea of Resistance is better than the games themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And obviously they wanted Killzone to be the Halo killer, which it never really was. But yeah, Uncharted is this. What other games started coming out around Uncharted 2, like from Sony? I mean,
Uh,
Infamous 2, I guess, would be
Yeah,
something you could
yeah, and
look
that
at.
was
And
your
more
PlayStation 3
open
years were
world.
Infamous and Resistance.
Yeah, I can't.
yeah,
I really can't think of any other ones.
Sly Cooper.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And I mean, Infamous
God of War,
was
I guess.
good, but I don't think. I mean, in the story, everything was good, but I don't think it pushed it like Uncharted did, where you
Yeah,
really, really connected with the characters.
yeah,
For
yeah,
me, anyways.
Mhm.
yeah. God of War
Yeah.
3 though came out on PS3. Man, God of War 3 is a gem.
Mm-hmm.
I know people
Uh,
kind of look back on that era of God of War now and with, I don't know, negativity for some
Oh, I
reason.
love
But
the past God of Wars.
oh my gosh,
So good.
I think though we can even look a bit further and actually look at some of Naughty Dog's earlier titles and see that they were really getting into their storytelling phase with
Mm.
Jax 2 and Jax 3 especially were
yeah.
pretty heavy on story.
Don't forget Jack X Combat Racing, super heavy on story.
Might as well then throw
That was the
Jax
start right
the Final
there.
Frontier or the Lost Frontier or whatever.
Man, that game was good too, though.
Yeah.
You know what
Jack 4, nobody ever talks about.
they actually just released it on PlayStation here again.
Did they?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
you can get that one now.
What?
Oh, nice.
Oh man, I'm gonna go play that. That game was awesome because it reminded me more of the first one, and I loved the first Jack game, and I never played 2 or 3. I tried
Oh,
to play
really?
Daxter.
2
I
is
tried to
hard
play.
as hell, but 3 was freaking amazing.
3
I tried to
was
play Daxter
phenomenal.
on PSP, and I was like, yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
So we just finally got into the city of Shambhala,
Yeah.
yeah.
and
I'm trying to find where that is. In my
one of
notes.
those classic,
Opening scene.
beautiful,
Beautiful.
it's stunning temple-ish like landscape inside of a mountain that's on top of a snowy mountain, but it looks like it's a pristine paradise. Kind of like Rise of the Tomb Raider, also.
Mm. Yeah,
Funny how it say so pristine.
yeah,
Because it's covered by a mountain,
yeah, man.
untouched.
Let's see. Oh, so yeah, so this is where I think Lazarevich tries to give Nate an ultimatum of who to save and who to, sacrifice or whatever, and then Chloe causes a distraction, and they just kind of run.
Well,
Mhm.
no, Nate just kind of is like, dude, I'm working with you. You don't have to do this. So he goes and he opens it up and just continues to have like continues to push Nate. Like they wanted to kill one, but also Harry's like, no, you promised me Chloe.
Yeah,
Yeah, and at that point, isn't her like cover blown or something like that too?
Yeah, her
yeah,
cover's already blown by
Yeah.
that point.
um, yeah. So let's see. Oh, then this is where like they introduce that mechanic where you have to shoot through the blue fire to blow up stuff to get
Mhm.
through the puzzles and stuff. I don't know. I didn't really care for that. I at this point I was just like I just want to see what happens in the story. I don't want to, you know. But yeah, they get to the life tree and they figure out that the sap in the stone in the middle of the tree is actually amber and not what it's supposed to be. But
Mm.
then they figure out that tree was not the tree that they were supposed to go to, and it was the one at the bottom of that stairway, right?
Mhm.
And so they are trying to figure out a plan on how to get to Lazarevich, and then Flynn comes out, and he's very like he's dying. He's like dead, right? Like he's a walking dead person. He's all
He's
beat
been
up and shot.
got
Yeah.
shot by Lazarevich because he failed him too many times,
Yep.
Yeah,
but
and
had a parting gift
yeah, parting gift in a grenade, which is
without the pin.
yeah, man, who knew? Who knew Flynn was gonna just blow everybody up?
It's
But
just crazy. Like Flynn looked like he would be almost like one of the characters, kind of like Eddie was, where he would kind of be your ally, but Flynn
yeah,
was just an asshole all the way to the end.
yeah,
And
yeah. Like this is the stuff that I kind of forgot about Flynn. Like I remember him dying, but I thought Flynn was going to end up being the one that like ended up at the last minute turning into like, oh, I'm gonna help them escape and sacrifice himself. But
Right.
he ended up just blowing everybody up and almost almost killed Elena. Elena's pretty badly hurt, right? And so you make the decision to kind of, or Drake, I guess, goes after Lazarevich. Chloe's
decides to
kind of,
be the hero.
yeah, Chloe's kind of carrying Elena, right? And you kind of escort them through part of the level, and then Elena is like really hurt, and so she sits down, and Chloe kind of, you know, takes care of her, and Drake is like, "Get out of here," whatever, and Chloe's like, "No, you can't do that. You need to be with Elena," and Elena is like coughing up blood and dying, and oh, I'm hurt. And Drake's like, "I gotta do it." So that was a whole thing. But you end up going after Lazarevich, and you catch him drinking the blue sap, and this is kind of where the game. This is the final battle.
Don't forget the blue sap healed his burns.
Yeah, blue sap
And
is
also, Nate shot at him 3 times.
yeah,
And he just shrugged it off
yeah,
because of the blue sap.
yeah. He's just yeah, Lazarevich. This fight where you have to like blow up the blue bombs on the trees, essentially, or
Yeah.
bombs, I guess.
The sap.
And the
Yeah.
sap. Yep.
Yeah,
The sap. The very volatile sap.
wouldn't you think that would just make him stronger though? If he just got it on him, he'd be like, I'm stronger now."
Well, I
Smash.
don't think. I think the sap had strong healing properties, which is why the Guardians did not die very fast, as
Mhm.
well as why he doesn't die like fast or when he got shot in the cutscene.
Yeah,
But I think he has to ingest that. What he's getting hit with
It's
is
like
the
actual
fire from the
explosion.
burn.
oh, fair.
So like he's getting hit and he's getting weak and he's not able to fully recover from that until we get to his final ends time. Like even the sap didn't kill him.
Right.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
something else that did.
Yeah, something else. Yeah, that was you actually end up don't kill Lazarevich. The Guardians end up just eating him alive, I guess. I
Mhm.
don't know what they're doing. But you hear him scream while you kind of run away, and this is where the temple kind of starts falling apart, and they do the cool like the bridge is falling thing, and you got to shoot the things off of Chloe, and yeah, I don't know. This is the one thing I have to say about Uncharted games in general is they really don't know how to end these things. Like they like the ends of the games are like the worst parts of the games. All 4 of them. I think the only one that ends good is Lost Legacy, and even then it was just kind of like it's better than the other one, the other
Right.
ones. But yeah. Anyways, after you do the whole we're gonna slide down this bridge thing, and you get back to the village, and Elena is getting healed up, and
Chloe
Nate
asks
and
Nate
Chloe talk, and
the big question.
yeah, Chloe asks the question, and she's like, "Nope, it's my turn to walk away, but you're gonna miss this ass."
I wouldn't have let her walk away.
And Nate's like, yeah, probably. Let me get one last look while you walk away.
And then you see good old Sullivan,
Yeah.
checking in on you, and then he doesn't really care much about Nate. He's like, which direction did Chloe go?
Yeah, I know. Man, Sully,
Get the
what a
rebound.
creepy old man. Man, so Sully's awesome.
He's such a good character. Like in general, not just like Uncharted, but just all game characters. He's just a
Yeah.
very memorable character.
Yeah, it's so funny how like his whole like persona is very like it's almost like a stereotype, but they work that character so well
Mhm.
that like you don't even remember that he's like a cigar wielding old guy that's
Right.
like treasure hunter guy. I'm
I would say
gambling
he's
with the
late
cigars and
50s.
slinging whiskey back and what all those things, and it's just like, man, he's such a great character.
Really is.
Mhm.
Sully. I missed him in the second half of this game. I mean, the last time we see him, he jumps off the cliff with Drake, right?
Because
Yeah.
he said he was getting too old for this shit.
I don't care. I don't care.
He
Danny
did.
Glover said that in Lethal Weapon, and he was 40. So let's go. Come on.
Too old for this shit.
He
was
so that's
65 in Uncharted 2? What?
Yeah.
Wow.
It looks pretty good.
Pretty damn good for a 65.
Right? Jeez.
Then again, Harrison Ford is pretty damn good in his 80s.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
He can move better than I can.
Man. So that's kind of it. That's the end of Uncharted 2.
What a great game.
It's a great game.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed this game. It's definitely a top 25 game for me. That's something I think we need to do, Pat, at some point, is just do a list, our top 25 lists at some point.
I have played way too many video games to not even remember.
It's so hard to make lists like that.
No, it's not. You just got to think real hard.
Yeah, I guess so.
There is like 35 years of video game here that I'd have to go through.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, at this point, like you said, 35 years and stuff, it would be like in that list, things that left an impact. Like Uncharted 2 left an impact. Maybe not gameplay wise on older titles that definitely don't hold up today, but they're still like that awesome memory in the back of your head type of thing.
Yeah, I would feel very guilty if I found something that actually did better than Lufia 2, in my opinion. Like, that has always been my number one game for like the last 30 years.
Yeah.
There's memories behind that one, even though it probably isn't the best game in the world in today's standard or any standard.
Well, I mean, my favorite game of all time is Twilight Princess, so you can say what you will about that, I guess.
And I had Lufia too. That brings back memory. That I haven't played that in it's a long time.
No, I literally played that game like 50 times. That was I played it so much that the cartridge, I think the battery in the cartridge died.
Oh no. That's a lot.
It killed a lot of my save files.
Oh, killed your save files?
Yeah, and the thing about the Lufia save files is that the New Game Plus gave you 4 times more experience in gold. So it wasn't as grindy. I lost that.
I know it's not exactly Uncharted 2 related, but what are you guys' thoughts on the Uncharted film? Or have you seen it?
I liked it.
Oh, okay.
I like bad movies though, so I don't know if it's good or bad. I'm an Indiana Jones 4 defender, so if that tells you anything.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
It has its moments.
Yeah.
Like, I did enjoy some of the pieces. I thought the flying ships were actually pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
The fight during the 2 ships flying in the air. There were some stupid things though, like the betrayal in the airplane. It
was a good
Papa
John's
movie. The whole freaking Papa John's marketing ploy and having the fight there.
You gotta get your product placement in there. You know,
Gotta get that money.
Papa John's exists.
That was one hell of yeah, they exist in a temple in Italy or France or wherever the hell they
Sure.
were.
Sure.
Why
I'm
not?
sure Papa John's has some money to put themselves there.
Deliver anywhere.
Yeah. You know. So look, as long as they don't put the toppings under the cheese, our Papa John's used to do that, and that's why I don't eat at
Really?
Papa John's. Yeah,
Uh,
that was like 20 years ago, though. So
I kind of like the hidden toppings under the cheese.
no, you're the worst.
Surprise.
You're the worst.
Mhm.
Let's get out of
But
here.
then again, I also live by Chicago, where the sauce is on the top.
Yeah.
That's Chicago. That's
Yep.
not pizza. That's
Yep.
bread soup. That's not real pizza. Anyways, any final thoughts on Uncharted 2 before we get out of here?
They should make a sequel.
Yeah, we should.
Remaster.
Call it Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception.
Yeah. Though that fifth one could get announced soon. Very excited about those rumors and about the speculation.
Well, yeah, because didn't Neil just came out saying something, didn't he? Not about, or that their next game is gonna like revitalize what gaming is or something.
Yeah, but Naughty
Neil's-
Dog isn't doing Uncharted 5. It's the second San Diego studio that's doing it. It's going to star Cassie Drake, supposedly.
I'm down for it.
They had it in that one commercial like a year ago where they were all sitting at the PlayStation desk.
Yes.
Dude, you've been saying that for the last 2 years.
It's gonna happen. It has to happen.
It's going to happen.
Has to.
PlayStation's been they've been pretty good about not announcing games until they're ready recently.
Or not announcing games.
I mean, it's better than Xbox, who has announced 35 games and they're all still not out, except for the one that came out this week. And you know,
I will say the rumor that did get me excited: Astro Boy or Astrobot.
I saw that yesterday. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's heavily
That's
rumored.
awesome.
Like if Wario64 is announcing that rumor, there's got to be some backing behind that one.
And we are getting way off topic here, but we are getting Doom in June, which is nice.
Yeah. The what is it? The Dark Ages or something?
Yeah.
Which is that it's that rumored prequel, right? I think.
I
Doom's supposed to be.
think so.
Year Zero.
Yeah. Which
We'll
is
see.
fine.
It'll be interesting because if I remember correctly, the DLC kind of. I thought the DLC kind of did away with the hero, the Doomslayer.
I didn't play it, so I don't know.
I thought something happened, like he gets sealed up again.
I can't. I don't think I played any of the DLC.
It got difficult.
The last time I played Doom was when it came out on Switch, and I played through it on Switch. So that was an experience.
Yeah, I'll have to double check because I didn't finish the Old Gods just because it got very. The final boss is probably considered one of the most unfair final bosses of all time because he heals like frequently. But yeah, anyways, we're not talking about Doom unless you vote for it.
Side tangent, another side tangent. Everybody 1-2 Switch is $9.99 on Amazon if you want a not so good video game for $10.
What do we want from Uncharted 5 if it comes out?
I just want a fun game that's look, I don't want RPG mechanics. I don't want loot. I don't want choice-based crap. I want just a good fun adventure that we can go shoot bad guys, solve puzzles, climb mountains, and have witty dialogue. And I hope
they don't
Cassie
need to
Drake
reinvent everything. They just
or add things into other genres.
Yeah, and I think the girl that they cast to play Cassie, who's also playing Abby in the Uncharted or the Last of Us show.
Yes.
She's actually the cast for Cassie?
She was Cassie at the end of Uncharted 4.
Oh.
and she signed on for multiple projects. I don't know. I don't know what that means, but
I know originally she was in the running to actually be the original Ellie.
I think she would have been a great Ellie. I'm having a hard time seeing her as Abby because Abby is nothing against her, but like Abby is like big
Right.
and this keep forgetting her name, but she's not very big. She's kind of small in physique, so I thought she would have been a great Ellie. I think she would be a great Cassie if they ever did it, if she was ever in Uncharted. But Tom Holland is obviously Nathan Drake, so not happening. But where were we going with this? Oh, yes, I think she would be a great. I think she plays Cassie again. I think she's funny enough to be that. I don't know if you guys saw the movie Bookworms.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in that, and she was pretty funny in that. So, I think she has the chops to pull off Drake style dialogue.
Yeah.
In my opinion, as long as the writing is good, I think she can pull it off.
Yeah. I think what you said earlier too is just keep it like the old ones, just straightforward. Here's the guns. You don't need to add survival mechanics to it or upgrade this or that. Just writing on point, good to go.
I think even adding some of the stuff that they added in, like that they have in Tomb Raider, would be a little bit too much for an Uncharted game. You know?
Yep.
Like, I don't know. Give me some.
Like Tomb Raider, I expect the somewhat survival thing, like, oh, kill this deer for skin and upgrade your bow or whatever. But Uncharted, I just need straightforward.
Yeah. Uncharted isn't about survival. It's
right.
Also, don't make it 30 hours long. Make it like a nice, tight 12 hours.
Yeah.
15.
Yep.
Also add Giancarlo Esposito as the villain.
Wasn't he already a villain in a video game recently?
Far Cry.
Yeah. One of those.
Yep.
He's got to be a villain in every type of series, though, now.
I'm all right with that.
Apparently, he's been cast as something in a future Marvel project, and the speculation is Doctor Doom.
Oh, see, I've heard he was some sort of alternate version of Magneto, which is
he expressed interest in being Professor X, but he also said he didn't want to be in a wheelchair. But he has had talks with Marvel. He has been cast as something. They just haven't announced what it is yet. And right now they're casting for Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Because they just got Galactus. It's the guy who plays Sid from Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
Very sexy, deep voice.
And he's been in Game of Thrones.
The Green Knight. He was the Green Knight.
He's in things.
Yeah, he's blown up. He's been in a couple video games too, just because of his voice. Diablo 4, he was in.
Diablo 4 was a big one for him.
Yep, that's the one I was thinking of.
But so was Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we did it, everybody.
We made
another Boss Rush video game book club. Next month's game is the game Stray, which I think we're going to have a couple special guests on that episode. At least one, maybe two. I don't think I will be on that episode. So Pat and Stephanie will be there with some special guests. So look forward to that. Very, very excited. Good pull, Pat.
Thank you.
Good pull for that guest. Clint, thanks for joining us on this. This was fun.
Thank you so much for having me. Definitely a blast.
Anytime you want to hang out, you just tell us and we'll get you somewhere.
Yeah.
One of these 750,000 shows that we do somewhere.
Anytime you need a fill-in, you know where I'm at.
Yeah. So, and I want to thank everybody out there for watching and or listening. Remember, for as little as $1, you can get this 1 month early on Patreon. But as always, you can watch it and listen to it for free the following month. The last Sunday of every month, book club comes out. You can vote right now it looks like Paper Mario is going to be our July game. So
The 1,000-Year Door.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
it's all the same. Nobody cares about any of the other ones.
Bro, there's like 5 Paper Marios out there.
I don't care.
6 if you include the crossover.
Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door
I'm
is
glad
the
you
game
cleared
that
that
we are
up.
playing.
Good.
The Switch version.
Very important. Very important you point that out.
Yeah, the Nintendo Switch version. The American version. Did I miss
At least
anything,
in
Pat?
2024.
Oh man, yeah. I've never played it, so I'm kind of excited.
I dabbled in it today, and you know what? I regret calling it a remaster. This does seem like it's a remake.
Yeah,
Like it is fresh.
yeah.
Nice.
The guy at Best Buy, which he's one of those people that just has to tell everybody everything because he knows everything about everything.
Like
and
me.
I was just kind of like rolling my eyes, and he was like, okay, dude, just give me my game. I want to
Right.
go. And he was telling me that they changed some of the translation in the game to be closer to the Japanese original than
There was a character that was considered non-binary that was in the original that the American translation did kind of censor that, and they brought it closer to the original this time with the character.
Oh, okay. He didn't go that deep. He just said it was closer to the Japanese original. I'm like, oh, okay. Does it play in my Switch? Can I take it home now? Oh my gosh, dude. There was this lady in front of me, and he was like, dude, I'll get into it later. Anyways, everybody out there, thank you for watching and or listening. Like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you listen. Catch a new episode every month. Listen to the Boss Rush podcast every Monday. BossRush.net for all of our content. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.